What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode 19 of our RB Barner Let's Play here in Football Manager 2020. Today we start season number 3. I'm excited for this. It's been a busy summer, lots of sales which I perhaps didn't expect, and a few purchases as well. So let's discuss them, shall we? I feel like that's always the place to start. It's a new season, it's a new dawn, it's a new day, and well, for me, I'm feeling good about our team. You can see here, £123 million made in sales, £140 million spent. That is a big jump in this graph compared to previous years. But yes, we've been wheeling and dealing. And well, let's talk about our transfers because I feel like that's where half the interest is. So anyway, first player out, Kevin, has gone to Liverpool. Obviously, it was a good backup last year for us, but with Estevez breaking into the team, he only played 16 matches. A £26 million offer came in. I couldn't really reject that. So, yeah, sorry, Kevin. You're moving onwards and upwards. And to be fair, he started off his career at Liverpool quite well. Anyway, a few more players did go to Premier League teams. The table has gone to Crystal Palace, of course. He was out on loan last year at Salzburg. He had a pretty good loan spell. At one point, I thought he might feature in the first team this year, but when that offer came in from Palace, I couldn't really say no. Danny Martin, our backup goalkeeper, had a really surprisingly high offer. This guy was valued at, I think, £4 million. So you can imagine when Atletico Madrid came in and went, yeah, we'll pay his release clause of £23 million, I kind of just bit their hand off. I had to take it. Again, with a lot of these transfers, they're not necessarily players I thought I would sell, but when the offers came in, I kind of felt like my hand was tied. Anyway, that's not really the case with the next two. Santi Mina and Hurtado, I've actually decided to sell. Mina, he's been good for us. He's homegrown, don't get me wrong, but last year, 5 goals in 25 games, 14 starts as well. That average rating really not that great. A £23 million bid came in from Brighton, and I just decided to take it at the end of the day, and it was a similar story with Hurtado. I have no doubt that this guy could turn out to be absolutely tremendous, and in many FM saves I've seen him go on to do really, really special things. But for us, he didn't really perform. He got that one goal against Atletico Madrid towards the end of the year, but besides that, he didn't contribute enough to be occupying a foreign player spot, and we got a £13.25 million bid for him from Watford. He wanted to go to Watford, and secretly, I think I wanted him to go as well. Anyway, 2 more sales. This one a little more sad. Keko has gone to Dynamo Zagreb. Didn't play much last year. Was great in our first season, but he's declined as a player. And at 29, I can't see him getting any better. So I just decided to cash in on him whilst we could. And we also let go of Javi Ontiveros, who was a player who I thought would be more of a squad player than he ended up being. In our first season, he was important. Last year, really didn't play much. And I just decided to cash in on him whilst we could. Anyway, besides that, loads of loans going on. You can see Morato, Dom and Gil have all been loaned to Salzburg. Brian Gill I thought was going to be in the first team, but given how well he played last year out on loan and how much he developed, I didn't really want to have him sitting on the bench this year, so he was keen to be loaned out again to Salzburg, and we've made it happen. Morato, it'll become evident why I've loaned him out, but he was occupying a foreign player spot. We've got in some good defenders now, who I think solve a lot of problems for us. And yeah, I really want to see this guy develop. I think he can develop as well, and I'm hoping he is going to follow in the footsteps of Gil last year and really show us what he's all about. Anyway, let's talk about the ins. Now, the first player, Patrice, was a player we agreed to sign in January. My scout said he was going to be way better than how good he is when he's come, although he did last year have a torn hamstring injury, which completely ruined his development, but less than £1 million spent. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. And well, we made one other young signing. It was this guy, Czech Ndione, and we got a pretty good price for him. He's 15 years old, tons of potential, and we paid £2.5 million from Real Betis's kind of junior team, I guess this is. I just think at that kind of money, I had to do it. He looks incredible. Big hopes for him going forward. Anyway, let's talk about these ins, because we let go of a lot of squad players here and we've promoted up a few younger players from within, but I did want to spend some money, and we've signed 2 huge players from fellow Red Bull clubs, you know, flexing our little kind of special relationship, I guess, where we have with them. The first player we've got here is Seiku Koita. I'm going to go with that, and that's probably not correct, but he looks incredible. He is a striker. You can see him here. If we just quickly compare him with, say, Santi Mina, yeah, you can just see how good he is here. He's 21 years old. I feel like this guy, just judged on how good he is here, if Haaland moves away from Salzburg in the winter transfer window, this guy could be his successor and do great things. Last year, 28 goals in 28 games for Salzburg. So to sign him for £19 million, I think is a really good bit of business. I feel like he's a big upgrade on Hurtado and Santi Mina. He's obviously on quite a lot of money, but I feel like we've got a really special player in him. Anyway, the other player we signed from a Red Bull club was Mukiel here, who that's definitely not how you pronounce it. I'm gonna go and research it after this video to find out. But yes, £38 million spent on a centre-back who can also play right-back. And to be honest, I think he's mostly going to be playing right-back for us. With the departure of Kevin, I needed a new right-back anyway. Estevez, yes, he was really reliable last year. He's become a little favourite player of mine. But at the same time, this is a huge defensive upgrade. And now we have really good strength and depth at the right-back position. And Nordi here can also slot in at centre-back if he needs to. So, yeah, really good signing. Doesn't use up a non-EU player spot. £40 million, perhaps overpaid a little bit, but given how much we'd sold players for, I felt like I had kind of permission, I guess, to overspend a little. Anyway, our last two signings, two players you're probably more familiar with. The first one is Lisandro Martinez of Ajax. He is an incredible ball-playing defender, can also slot in at left-back, but for me, this guy's going to come in and absolutely boss our defensive line. He's left-footed, really like the look of him. With him joining us, Morato was kind of forced out. But at £33.5 million on a fairly modest wage of £63,000 a week, I think we've got a really good bargain here. And the final player we signed, a former Liverpool player. It's a Spaniard, and it's a player who we've already signed once this year on the channel. It is Suso, who, I mean, technically, he's absolutely incredible. I feel like this guy is going to provide some competition and probably fight for the first team spot alongside Mendes at right mid for the inverted winger role. You can see how good Suso is here. He's a very good player. I feel a little bit bad for Mendes that he might be forced out the team. But equally, the opportunity was presented with us to sign Suso for £46 million. He's not the best couple of years in Milan. He's going to return to Spain now. And I'm really hoping we're going to see big things from him. He looks absolutely incredible. And I feel like with these additions to the team, particularly the four at the bottom, we really have bolstered our starting 11 this year. So this is how I think we're going to line up this season. Of course, Palacios was already agreeing to join us. He was loaned back to River for the second half of last season, but he's in the team now. So our starting 11 looks something like this in terms of what I think our best 11 is. So we're going to stick with Blanco in goal. He's probably the weak link on paper. If you were going to look at our team and go, where should we invest money and where should we improve? The goalkeeping position would kind of be the obvious position, but the last 2 years, Blanco's done really well for us. 19 clean sheets in 38 games last season. I'm willing to show him a little bit of faith. Our backline now is Reguilon at left-back, Martinez at left centre-back, Onguene, who had a tremendous off-season and a tremendous season last year at centre-back, the 23-year-old continuing to improve. He's had a lot of interest in him as well. He's been trying to force a move. I'm desperately trying to keep hold of him. I think the biggest bid we've had was about 30 million. He's got a release clause of 150 million. I'm going to need silly money to consider selling him. You can see him compared to Martinez here to give you an idea of how big of an upgrade Martinez is in the centre-back position. But nevertheless, I feel like these two guys alongside one another are really going to work well. Of course, we've then got Nordi at right back. I feel like him and Estevez will rotate quite heavily throughout the year, so keep an eye on that position there. In the midfield, Suarez, of course, keeps the left midfielder spot. Last year, he was my player of the year. He was absolutely kind of essential in everything that we did as a wide playmaker. It really can't be understated, and I was really happy that we were able to keep hold of him for this year. In the centre-mid positions, we're going to go with Palacios alongside Florentino Luis, but much like previous years, we're very stacked in the centre of the midfield. So also we've got Florentino and Palacios, who I feel like are two players who complement each other quite nicely. They're quite different, I guess, which in a centre-mid partnership is nice. We have still got the likes of Hadara on the bench, who is a really good creative player, who can also slot in at right mid if we need him to. And we also have Jedson Fernandez, who, to be fair to him, has been very good. He's a little unhappy that I've told him he's not as important as he once was in the team, but I'm hoping he's going to put that behind him, because he certainly will get game time this year and be a player of impact for us. Anyway, at right mid to start this year, although Suso is probably going to long-term slot in at right mid, I want to give Mendes a chance to fight for his position, so he starts for us today in our first game of the year. And up top, we have Haaland, and he's alongside Koita, who, of course, both former Salzburg players, they probably have a degree of familiarity. I'm hoping that they're going to work really, really nicely together. This year, I've made one minor tactical tweak. At least for now, instead of going with the complete forward, we're going to try an advance forward alongside Haaland on pressing forward. Of course, Haaland last year was just absolutely tremendous with us with 25 goals. I'm hoping that Koita is going to take his goal-a-game scoring ratio that he had last year in Austria and replicate it again this year. At £19 million, though, I don't feel like that's the biggest price tag for the quality of this guy, and the fact he's only 21 with a ton of potential leaves me very, very excited. Anyway, this is the bench in what I view to be our best 11, if you can call it that. Of course, we've got Perez, who last year developed a hell of a lot. He kind of beats Kanate at the moment, I feel like, for third choice centre-back. We've got Nuno Tavares, who can play left-back and right-back on the bench. This guy did actually have some offers in for him. I think we had a bid from West Ham of about £20 million. I did consider selling him. I thought about it, I sat on it, I pondered things, but in the end I just couldn't find a player who could play left-back and right-back on this kind of wage, who was willing to sign a long-term deal and who we could sign for a reasonable price. So, yeah, we're going to stick with him. We've already talked about Hadara, Fernandez and Suso, but the other players on the bench to start the year are going to be Carles Elena, and alongside him, we have, of course, Jonathan David, who was a big signing for us last year at £25 million. And I feel like, actually, comparing him to Koita is probably a good idea, just to give you an idea of how good Sekou is. So, yeah, here's the head-to-head. I'd say, considering Koita came in significantly cheaper, we've done pretty good business there. But still, David was very, very solid last year. He's only 21. And, yeah, you can expect to see him do very, very big things for us throughout this year. Anyway, you can see the rest of our squad here. All the players listed as ineligible are players who I've made available for the B team this year. But the good news is, if we just look at squad registration, our 25-man squad contains each and every single player that you see on this screen here. So in terms of squad depth and position coverage, I feel like we're in a really, really good spot this year. We've got a great squad. If we have a few injuries, we can rotate things around. Players like Sergej Blanchard, I would like to give more first-team football to, but he's doing great things at the B team, and he's done good things, in general at the club. I'm willing just to, stick with him, give him a little bit of faith in terms of in the B team. Maybe come the end of the year, we can give him some game time. But yes, it's an exciting time to be here. Given the fact we spent £140 million, even though I've made some big sales, although most of those were squad players, I really want to challenge for the title this year. You look at the actual players we've signed and where they kind of slot into the team. We've got Koita, Palacios, Martinez, Mukele, and also, of course, Suso. Those are 5 new players in the team who I think are going to have a massive first-team impact on the squad. I'm hoping it's not going to upset the apple cart in terms of for the rest of our team, because we had a very good club harmony last year. That remains to be seen. You can see here, by the way, the kind of squad club vision. So the board still want us to make the most of set pieces. I don't feel like we're going to be able to do that. We've not got, the crazy kind of tall defenders. We're not one of these Cardiff Cities, the classic Neil Warnock side who's going to make the most of every single corner and free kick. But everything else I'm pretty confident of achieving. You can see here the board are very, very happy with things. Facilities in the process of being upgraded, which is great. And in terms of our transfer activity, for the most part, the fans are pretty happy. They're very unhappy about the fact we've loaned out Brian Gill, but I wasn't going to be able to register him in the team. And with us having Suso and Mendes at right mid, he just wasn't really going to play. But yes, in general, the board are happy, mostly because we've made profit off the sales of players that we've sold on this year. Players like Kevin, for example, signed for £6 million, 2 years later selling him for £26 million. That's pretty good business. For a player like Hurtado, we signed him for £7 million. We've sold him on for almost double that in a season where he got 2 league goals all year. I feel like we've done well with the wheeling and dealing in this summer, and we have a really good squad. I would be interested, guys. Rate my transfer business out of 10. Go in the comments and let me know who you think the big new addition to the squad is going to be. Interesting to know, the team of the division preview, like the media best 11, has Suarez and Florentino Luis in it. Perhaps Real Madrid and Barcelona are losing their grip on the league. Or maybe I'm getting a little bit carried away. Either way, you can see this year we are predicted to finish 4th. Of course, this is our first year in the Champions League, which is going to be a big focus of this season. And well, to start this year, we take on local rivals Espanyol. It's like the league has planned this all out for us. It's going to be a big Barcelona derby. We've already talked about the team that is going to play in this game. I am very, very excited. I feel like our squad depth now, beyond the first team is superb. I realise I didn't talk about the backup goalkeeper positions. Obviously, we have just sold Dani Martinez to Atletico Madrid for £23 million. I'm putting faith in the fact that Ivan Martinez here, the 19-year-old, can be our backup goalkeeper if we absolutely need him to. And, well, we're going to give some additional kind of faith, I guess, to Alexander Augustine, who, if we had an absolute calamity in goal, could probably do a job as third-choice goalkeeper. The advantage with this guy is, because he's under the age of 18 at the cut-off point, he doesn't have to be registered for the league this year, which was a big added bonus because, as you saw by our squad registration situation, we are right on the limit. We've got a 28-man squad. The league limit is 25 players, although players under a certain age don't have to be registered, and we have 3 of those players. But anyway, that's kind of what I've done. I feel like we've done really good business. It's going to be very difficult, I feel like, to match last year's third place finish, because I feel like we were big beneficiaries of the fact that Atletico slipped up and we had a very good year. We just kept performing and performing and performing. The big question, I guess, for me is, can we take it to that next level? How quickly can we bed in our new signings? You know, we've spent big money on a few players. I am expecting... Well, I want to say I'm expecting immediate returns. I feel like I am. We'll have to see how we get on here. They've got Melendo whipping the ball in here. And, well, Espanyol, the first team on the attack. That's a little nervy to see. I will say, since the last episode, I'm behind the curtain YouTube stuff. I'm away over Christmas, so I'm having to record videos a little bit further ahead of schedule than I would like to keep on top of things, and so that there are videos for the week that I'm away. I believe there's been a match engine patch between the end of last season and me recording this episode, so we may have to tweak the 4-4-2, and well, go on, Koita. Go on, my friend. Finish it. Oh, on his debut, it would have been in a dream start. Unfortunately, he hits it straight at the keeper. But yes, we might have to tweak the tactic. I always feel like when any match engine comes out, stuff slightly changes. I'm sure you guys feel that when you play Football Manager. Tactics that worked just don't work anymore, it feels like occasionally. I'm hoping that won't be the case here, because I don't think the changes have been too major, but that's something definitely worth keeping an eye on. Of course, the big change that we've made this year is with Koita playing advanced forward, not complete forward. Curious to see how that functions in pre-season. It looked pretty solid, to be honest. Anyway, we're going to try and win the ball high up the pitch here. I have to respect Espanyol for the fact they're trying to play it out the back, but we are applying pressure hard. We force them to go long and they feed it straight to Reguilon. Now what can he do? Down the line, he tries to pick out Haaland. Falls to Haaland again, who hits it. Florentino Luis with the assist. Haaland is loving it. Maybe I should do the Haaland shake. I come up with this thing, the Haaland shake, but I don't know what the Haaland shake is. I'm not an imaginative, creative person. It sounds like it should be a dance move, a bit like the Haaland shake, the actual Haaland shake, but I don't know what I do. I'm trying to think, can I make a H with my hands? This is getting weird. I'll think about it. It'll come to me in a dream, I'm sure. I'll have a vision of what it should be. We're dominating this game, by the way. We're not having a ton of the ball, but we are bullying Espanyol in terms of just the sheer quantity of shots we are having. I'm going to demand more from the players, get them a little fired up, and well, it's Palacios making his debut, of course, today to Koita. We've got like 5 players in the first team making their debuts today, including Palacios, who whips it in. Ezekiel, that is what I want to see from you, my Argentine friend. What a little ball that is. Of course, we signed him in the January transfer window for under £5 million, or 5.5 million maybe. It was a good deal at the time. He was on quite a lot of wages considering we had to loan him back for the second half of the season, but I wasn't going to be able to register him in the team. With Perez taking up Spanish nationality, we now have that free spot, and it looks like he's going to be worth it. Although Denis Suarez picks up an injury. Right, Carlos Elena, I'm hoping that's not a serious injury, but Elena last year was quality for us until he got injured, and then he missed the second half of the year. Despite breaking his ankle, the fans still had him down as their player of the year. So the question is, this year, if Suarez is going to get injured, if he is going to need to be rotated out, can Elena stay fit and, you know, be the player that he was for the first half of last year? Or is that broken ankle going to have set him back more than I realised? It was a bit of a shame, really. I wanted to give him more first-team football last year when he came back from injury, but because Suarez played so well, very, very difficult to justify that level of rotation. Anyway, Mendes on the right here, skips past his man, options in the middle. Who is he going to pick out? He goes for goal. I've seen enough for him today. He's did okay, don't get me wrong, but I want to give Suso a debut. I want to see what Suso can do there, because on paper, Suso is the better player. He's not 100% match fit, but we have just spent £47 million on him, and for that reason I'm expecting him to come big for us and put in some top quality performances. He's also amazing at set pieces, which could definitely help with the squad vision and the club vision of making the most of set pieces. Like, he should score free kicks for us. He's got amazing free kicks, amazing technique, great crossing as well, which helps with indirect free kicks. I'm confident that he's going to be a great addition to the team. Of course, he'll probably now miss a sitter, but that remains to be seen. Let's see what we can do here. So we've got us kind of rotated left and right mid on the field right now as Haaland's chip through. He's on for the hat-trick. Can he find the back of the net? He can't. The keeper gets a huge hand on that, and it trickles just wide of the post. We have a corner, which Suso is going to whip in. I mean, let's hope that they're better than that. What can we make of this one? We can't make anything of it. He's offside. It's a disaster. I mean, we are bullying them. There is highlight after highlight. We're yet to have a clear-cut chance, but we've had 4 half chances. I would love a third goal just to make this really comfortable, because the longer it sits at 2-0, I kind of feel like if they have that one chance to score at 2-1, maybe squeaky bum time then commences. And no one wants squeaky bum time. It's not a fun time, is it? Right, Palacios, what can you do? He dinks forward Haaland. What a ball that is. Can Haaland finish it? He can't. I mean, fair play to the keeper. It's a huge stop. And unfortunately for us, they're going to get it away too. A few of our players looking complacent. I'm going to get a bit shouty and demand more from them. Apparently, at least from what I saw there, they didn't react well to it. It must be a bug. Demand more always works. Roulet lays it off. Let's make sure we don't concede here, please, boys. Falls to Mark Roca at the edge of the box. I don't know why I've rolled the R then. I'm getting nervous. Let's not make it 2-1. Let's be strong here, boys. Roulet, I mean, fair play. Fair play. First real chance they've had of the game, he scores it, and the worst possible situation in my head has just happened. I'm trying to think how he got through here. Is it Martinez who just loses his man? It is. Although Onguene, I think, doesn't step out with the rest of the defence. Of course, we have got 2 new members of the back 4, and defensively we were very good last year, but I am anticipating a little bit of a getting to know each other phase, I guess, for our defence. It's not going to be an immediate click. I mean, well, it could be, but you don't really expect it. I feel like a back 4 just needs stability and it needs time together. What a tackle that is. And we get it forward to Koita here. What can he do? Down the line, Haaland looking for a hat-trick in the middle. I mean, I was hoping for a bit more quality with a delivery into the box there. Dispossessed, and, well, they bring the ball forward here. Espanyol, please don't do this to me. Sergei Dada with the ball. Now Mark Roca. They are enjoying having possession. We've had more of it in the kind of latter half of the game. But they dink the ball forward to Roulet, who hits it. I mean, Ruben Blanco's bailing us out at the moment. They are creating chances here. Part of me's like, do I change tactics? They've had 2 shots on target all game. I probably shouldn't get too reactionary. But the fact of the matter is, they're in our half again with another highlight. And Onguene's lost his man. It's hit. It's blocked. Please defend this, boys. What are we doing? Blanco. My word, it was not the most convincing of saves, but a save it was. He gets it wide of the post. And now Melendo to cross in the ball towards the back post. It's headed into Blanco's hands. Let's make a change here. Koita's not played that great. I'm going to take him off. Jonathan David, what can you do for us? We're going to bring in the Canadian and see what he can do. We're going to switch out our striker for a forward. What is the difference there? I guess a striker only plays striker naturally, whereas David can play anywhere in the final third. So he's labelled as a forward. I don't know. Either way, we've got a corner to deal with here. There's 3 minutes left. We're only 1 goal up. It goes over the bar. Please, what are we doing, boys? There's another highlight. Stop it, Football Manager. This has not been a great performance. We were massively, massively on top, and then they have just, you know, they've hit their groove, Espanyol, although they can have shots from there all they want. I'm delighted if that's the kind of shot they want to have on our goal. 3 minutes left, another highlight. Elena dinks through Jonathan David. Can he get there with his pace, the Canadian? Can he press? He's trying to force out an error. Our whole team is trying to force out an error. If they break our press here, we could be in trouble in behind. What a tackle that is, though. Again, Palacios forward to Suso. Can Suso keep it in? He can't on this occasion. There's still 2.5 minutes left, although Reguilon's been gifted the ball. Oh, that was a risky little header back to the keeper. Haaland almost got there. He's been an absolute nuisance with the keeper as Haaland. He's not showing any respect. Florentino Luis now with it. Dinks through Haaland, who should get onto this with his pace. Does get onto it. Can he finish it? Tight angle, to be fair to him, but Barkas makes another huge stop. I feel like we deserve to win this game, but I'm very disappointed we've only scored 2 goals. There's 10 seconds left. Game, just blow the whistle. I'll take a not so convincing away 2-1 win in this first game of the year. Although Haaland wants his hat-trick. Ezekiel Palacios threads him through. Haaland scores. It could be offside. I think it probably is. It was offside. We can't get excited. He's not going to get a hat-trick to start the season. But the good news is that's the last piece of action for the game. And it finishes here 2-1. Not the most convincing of results. The performance itself, at least in the first half, was really good though, which I guess gives me some hope. Denis Suarez is going to be out for 3 weeks, which is definitely not ideal. Palacios impressed on his debut. Haaland, unsurprisingly with 2 goals to his name, got player of the match. Apparently Ancelotti is looking at a few of our players. Please go away, Carlo. I don't want you here. I don't want you looking at my boys. Right, what games have we got coming up next time? We've got a Champions League group stage game on the 15th of September. That feels like the time to come back. It's going to be our first proper venture into the Champions League. It'll be interesting to see who we get drawn against. I think we're going to go in as a 3rd or 4th seed, so it's going to be a tough little group. The board expectations as well in that competition, if I'm not mistaken, they're quite high. Where do we see expectations now? I thought it's not match performance. Where is it? Just in overview? I can't remember. Oh, it's here. Of course it is. So the expectations this year are to reach the first knockout round. That's going to be difficult. Apparently that's a required minimum expectation. I'm a little nervous about that. Next episode is going to be a big one in the Champions League. I hope to see you guys for it. Thank you for watching as always. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Let me know who your signing of the season you think is going to be out of the players we've signed. I would love to know your thoughts down below. And, well, other than that, it is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.